Good morning, everyone, and welcome to INCRadio, Washington, D.C. Satellite Studio. I am Sister Eliza Mujica. Today is Saturday, June 22, 8:59 a.m., and today we're talking about the success of students who have graduated and their plans for the future. So before we continue, we'll be showing photos of our guests and other graduates from the District of Washington, D.C. Before we start, quick shout out to Brother Bruce Von Belmeo, Sister Kristen Yumo, Sister Victoria Angela Malasig, Sister Zoe Dulay, and Sister Serene Magallanes. And if you know any other graduates, a shout out to them. Maybe you can type it up in their YouTube live chat this morning. And so let's go on with our discussion. So today we have our guests and we have a brother and a sister. I wonder who they are. So we're asking our brother here and our sister here what they graduated from, where they graduated from, and their degree and other awards. Just because you gotta be proud of yourself. So let's start off with our sister here.
Hi everyone, I'm Sister Annie Mendoza from the locale of Baltimore. I graduated from Loyola University in Maryland with a degree in business, specifically in marketing, and a minor in international business.
And our brother.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brother Percy. I graduated from Bowie State University with a bachelor's in communications with a concentration in public relations and a minor in political science. And I was blessed. I was able to graduate summa cum laude.
Congrats to our brother and sister. That is such a big accomplishment for all of us. And we'd like to know more about your graduation story, your journey. And so the first question here is, what was it like? What's the difference of being high school graduate and college graduate? Because there's a difference with like graduating from high school as a teenager and graduating as an adult. Sister Annika.
I think first and foremost, when it came to my high school graduation, I graduated during COVID. So that was definitely a big and kind of like a crazy time for us since all of the normal celebrations and ceremonies were altered. But I think in terms of mindset, when it comes to going to high school, I think for the most part, there are certain preset things where, okay, I could go to community college, I could go to university, I could go to trade school. There were kind of steps that were already going to be, I guess, pre-laid out for me as a high school student. But in college, it's really anyone's game, right? Like you can go to pursue more school, you could go to continue on in like a corporate journey or things like that. So I definitely think in the next step phase, I think that was definitely a difference.
What about you, brother JR?
Honestly, I completely agree with Sister Annika. It's a lot scarier because again, like after high school, you're going to another educational institution if
Mm-hmm.
you go to college. But like there's different struggles, of course, like finding a part-time job or balancing more of your time. But after college, it feels like you're on your own. You got to figure it out. Other than your job, what plans do you have? What do you want your life to look like in 5 or 10 years? It gets real. No one's really holding your hand anymore. So yeah, a lot scarier.
Oh wow, no one's holding your hand anymore. That is kind of like that's pressure right there, low key. And what inspired you, brother JR, to pursue a career in your education?
Kind of a lot of it is a lot of it was like sort of church duties. A lot of the things that I'm doing now, kind of like stemmed from my duties in media, when I was a kid. So kind of like seeing like progressing, from an early age to now. It's just like, man, I do kind of want to do this for like the rest of my life. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, that's how I pursued it.
Wow, that is relatable though, because growing up in the church, you're like, oh, I'm doing this a lot, so you're like, I love doing this, so I want to do it as a career and also as a duty. So, wow, that's awesome. What about you, Sister Annika? Any thoughts like what made you pursue a career in your education?
Yeah. I I think being in business offered me the flexibility to have the opportunity to go to different industries and things like that, and I really enjoyed having that, especially with a business background specifically. Our curriculum spanned a lot towards different subjects. Like I did learn about accounting, I did learn about economics, and that provides me with a chance to be able to perhaps pursue other career fields. So I really like the flexibility of having a business degree.
That's true. Actually, I relate to that as well. You know, business, you're like, ooh, I got a lot of open opportunities in there because business is a lot. So, yeah, relatable right there. So, what's your next step after graduating, Sister Annika?
Yeah, so following my graduation, I entered corporate America. I started with an internship with Capital Funding Group here in Baltimore, Maryland. And I really like that I started with an internship actually, because I feel like interning provided me the chance to kind of step in slowly into the business world instead of kind of diving headfirst. I feel like an internship provides me with the chance to feel things out without being too scared or like, you know what I mean? It's a little
Hmm.
tough. So that's what I'm doing right now after graduation.
Oh, wow, internship. You know, taking it slow out here. What about you, Brother JR?
Me and Annika are like right there, neck and neck. I'm right. I'm also interning in corporate America. I'm interning at a biometrics company called Idemia in their marketing and government side. And I'm blessed that I'm here as well, because it's like what Sister Annie was right said was right. It's like getting acclimating yourself, getting a foothold in the professional world, kind of like just like figuring your figuring things out as you graduate college. So, yep.
Mhm. So after graduation, so you know your internships, they're your basically your tentative post graduation timeline now that you have graduated. But do you see yourself in that position within like the next couple years, Brother JR?
Honestly, yeah, I do. I love what I'm doing now. Again, it's kind of like an extension of what I was doing in my church duties. So, um, honestly, it's a blessing to be able to find a job that has that kind of like that fulfillment aspect as well. So, I hope I get to stay here. You know, God willing, I hope I stay here for a couple years at least.
What about you, Sister Annika?
I think for me, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I feel like being in a marketing position or in business, it's really flexible. So I'm really open to whatever path that leads me onto. I think specifically, adding on to the point that I made before, I feel like when I mention flexibility, I think it's also with industries, because initially I was really interested in working in fashion or in the beauty industry, but now I'm really interested in working in sports. So I feel like being able to be flexible. Therefore, I really don't know what path, but I know definitely I would stay in the business world. Whether that's also pursuing higher education, I'd also like to explore that as well. So, I think it's just for me personally, it might steer to different places, but I'm okay with that.
Oh, and what did you say your minor was again?
So my minor is international business, which seems really broad, but in retrospect, when I think about what I studied, it's all about emerging markets and international and foreign marketplaces. And also for us specifically, we talk a lot about psychology when it comes to working with other people from different cultures. So I really like that aspect, especially in my study abroad portion of my college career. That was really important, and that was an requirement for me as a international business minor to study abroad.
Oh, that's so cool. So you studied abroad. Okay, so you had a major and a minor, so now I know that's pretty tough. So I want to ask you, what challenges did you face up until your graduation?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. I think for especially Brother Jera as well is also having a minor, and a lot of different components come to when, especially the college students who are listening right now. You know that when you're planning your 4-year plan or whatever that you are in, you have certain requirements to meet, whether that's certain free electives and whatnot. So I think balancing that and being able to graduate on time, that's kind of like the struggle with it. That's definitely something that I feel like I face in terms of a challenge, because with the study abroad, for in my personal circumstances, there are certain things that align with their curriculum. I studied in England, so their curriculum is a bit different. So even finding classes to fit that, but also still match the curriculum within Loyola University. So I think that was a challenge for myself, especially because I studied abroad in my junior year. So already we're heading towards graduation, right? So, it's kind of like being able to balance those things.
Oh wow, that's so cool to know. What about you, Brother JR? What were your challenges in college?
I honestly, again, me and Sister Annie, same wavelength. I really feel that it's balancing a lot of things. The main challenge being time. I understand now when adults used to say like, "Oh, there isn't enough time in the day."
Hmm.
Constantly felt like that, battling time for all the things that I had to do, but also want to do, like school, work, and church, and even social life, because all of those are important things. But finding time to do all of them was like a big struggle through a constant struggle throughout the college years.
Oh wow. So for me, actually, my question. So, I'm also working, school and my church duties, and I also love hanging out with my family and my friends. So, what would be your main advice on how we, like other students, can balance that kind of thing? Brother Dare.
um I guess for me it was like there are sacrifices that need to be
Hmm.
made. You can't have all the things. Like, as in a perfect world, you could have all those things, but there are times where you're gonna have to sacrifice a few hangouts to do some schoolwork, or um sometimes this is not good, but sometimes you'll have to sacrifice a few of your assignments to attend church.
Hmm.
Church is always the priority. So you never sacrifice time for that. Um but for the most part, you're gonna have to sacrifice a few things here and there,
Hmm.
so that way, you can make it to the things that are absolutely necessary.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You gotta know your priorities out there. And, is there where, so another question is this where you envisioned yourself being after you graduated, Sister Annika?
Yeah, I think for the long term and thinking about all my plans and things like that, I wanted to be in a position such as this. I feel like the one thing I would say is like I didn't expect necessarily to be an intern, but as I mentioned earlier, I actually really like that I'm in this position because it gives me the chance to kind of feel things out rather than, as I said earlier, diving head first. I feel like, or like full forward or whatever. It feels a lot more comfortable, and I'm learning to be incorporated in this like lifestyle and in this environment without feeling overwhelmed. So although it wasn't necessarily an expectation of mine, it still aligns with my overall plan, especially entering the business sector.
Hmm. And you given the opportunity to study abroad, you think you'll be, you do you see yourself moving out one day?
I would love to return back to England if I got the chance, or anywhere abroad, especially with my international business background. We also had a heavy emphasis on studying foreign language, so I find it that I would be interested in studying and even maybe pursuing like a master's degree abroad, something like that. Anywhere. I love to travel, so I feel like I would see myself going abroad. I'd love to if God gave me the chance.
Oh, that's so cool. What about you, Brother Jerry? You see yourself, out of the state, out of the country one day?
This is where me and Sister Annika's path diverge completely. No, well, it's nice. It would be nice to travel, but honestly, at the end of the day, I love home. I love the DMV area, so I might move like Virginia side because I'm in Maryland right now, but
Hmm.
I have nothing too far from home. Wherever the job market takes me, honestly. But I'm hoping that it's not way too far, like across the country or even abroad. Like, Sister Annie, props to you though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love home too. Don't get me wrong. I love home too. I'm a Maryland girl too. So
Yeah, I actually totally agree on that with Brother JR. I feel like I can't leave home. And, so with graduating, so, there's a time when you're like, "Ooh, so close to graduating. I'm almost there, like a few more steps." What was one big challenge that you had, Sister Annika?
I think the same thing with what Brother JR touched upon, which was like time management. You know, you're managing so much at the exact same time, like the finals, even applying to jobs or going through the interview round process while going through finals, while also like if you're a student who's working, I was working during school. So I had work, I had finals, I was trying to apply to like a corporate job. You know, there's so many things you're juggling. Of course, our church
Mhm.
obligations, you know, so I think managing time when you most important, like it's most important, you know, when the pressure's kind of on. I think that was definitely a big struggle and challenge for me, especially heading up to graduation. I think that I do want to touch upon what you asked, especially as a student, because you are also working and going to school at the same time. And this is like a tangible tip, but honestly, a planner is going to be your best friend. Like writing, physically writing down like the things that you have. That's what really helped me, especially in those circumstances when I would feel like, okay, I wrote down, I always write down like all the church activities, especially on like the month. So I know exactly ahead of time, okay, I need to go to this district
Mhm.
event, I have this EVM at our locale, you know, stuff like that. And then on top of that, write down your finals and then write down your work shifts. Like it gives you a visualization of when you need to be, where you need to be, and why you need to be there, like stuff like that. So I think that is a solution to the challenge that I faced.
Mhm. What about you, Brother JR?
I it was a couple of things. One was kind of like finances. You know, I was blessed to have partial scholarships all throughout college, but I still had to figure out my own way after that. But that didn't involve like completely relying on my parents or taking out a student loan because it's
Mhm.
crazy. It's crazy out here today. But the workaround was to work while going to school, and the I guess the second problem, not problem, but like challenge was like finding a job after, making sure that I was secure. You know, I got my degree, but now what? So,
Mhm.
yeah, again, like this internship was a blessing. So.
Oh wow. So, would you recommend students like in their last few months to start applying to jobs? Because I feel like for some students there could be doubts like, oh, am I even going to graduate this semester? Like, should I even start applying right now? So would you recommend applying before you graduate, Brother Jer?
Oh man, yes, absolutely. I am actually interning with a couple people that are in their sophomore year of college, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy. This is what I should have been doing." But you know, it's a marathon, not a race.
Mm-hmm.
You move at your own pace. But yes, try to get internships as soon as you possibly can. Even your sophomore or junior years, especially those years, those are the perfect time to like build your resume and kind of like get your foothold in the door of whatever market you're in.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sister Annika?
Yeah, I think also just to touch upon the fact that, I mean, we're from similar business or like communication sectors, but if you are in like a different, maybe like engineering or, you know, nursing, something similar, still get your foot in the door. And we did talk about this before in our rehearsal actually, but networking is so important as well to be able to get that chance to be able to have the internship. It's one thing to be reputable on your resume, to be, you know, looking good on paper, but then it's another to also have that connect within the company. That's basically from my own experience, as well as like my other friends experience, those who are really in those stronger like business such as accounting and finance, to be able to get into those firms. It's really important to have that connect within, and not just somebody that you found on LinkedIn. Like you really need to know this person, or like just speak to them, have that conversation with them. So getting your head or getting your foot in the door beforehand in your sophomore and junior year, as Brother Jared said, is super vital. But no pressure at the same time. Exactly. Like honestly, with Brother JR, we're both interns after we graduated college. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people might think, I mean, for my position, they were asking for corporate graduate intern, so you had to graduate already to get the position, but there are usually internship positions made and suited for college students. But the earlier you start, the better, because, you know, nowadays they're asking for people for entry level positions who have like years of experience. And the only way you would really get that is to be able to be an intern in your undergraduate years.
Oh wow. Yeah. I agree with you guys. We got to focus on our own timeline. That's all that matters. We got to focus on ourselves and our growth. And so what is your advice to those who face challenges to obtain their education to graduate and to obtain their education and graduate, Sister Annika?
I think number one, first and foremost, in my own personal educational experience, is definitely prayer. Prayer is so powerful. Like I think in the moments when I felt like it was a struggle, or especially as I mentioned, being away from my family was it was difficult. Although shout out to North Shields, that was my locale in England. I really appreciate the family that they offered me in my university studies in England. But I think number one, prayer is so powerful. I really entrust that everything that I go through is all going to be settled by God. And I think that's the most important thing for all students, whether you're in middle school, you're starting to enter like new phases of your life following like eighth grade. You know, all the graduates that are going to be shouted out, or, you know, all the people that are watching today who are graduates, you know, you guys are moving onwards and upwards, right? But as Sister Eliza mentioned, it's really focusing on your own timeline. And what that really truly means is that we trust God in our plans, right? So I think that's the most important thing for me, especially when you encounter like struggles and challenges.
What about you, Brother JR? Any last advice for this morning?
Yeah, sure. By the same token of like praying and things like that, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's this big misunderstanding that once you're in college, that's it. You got to figure it out. But no, you always have friends and family who are more than willing to move the world for you if you would just ask. But they won't know unless you tell them. So you're not alone ever, even though you may sometimes feel like it. Utilize your support system because that's what they're there for. And if you can get by alone, great, that's fantastic. But the journey does not have to be as difficult as it is when you have people that are willing to help you. So call for that help. Adulting does not need to be lonely.
Wow, there you go. So we have a prayer and don't ask for help. And don't ask for help in your prayer. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so thank you again for joining us this morning. Before we let you go, do you have any personal greetings, Sister Annika?
Yes, I'd like to shout out my parents for whom I would not be able to fulfill any of my dreams without my sister at the Abbey and Kuya RJ, and of course my Baltimore family. Thank you guys. Shout out to you guys.
And Brother JR?
Yeah, shout out to my parents as well. And also the Cal of Temple Hills because love them. They were a great support system throughout my college years. So yeah.
Yes, thanks for the shout outs and thanks again for joining us this morning. So now let's check out some of our greetings in our YouTube chat. There's a lot, so let's get ready, guys. Okay, so shout outs. We have Junalyn Saruda. Happy watching po mula sa lokal ng Kawal District ng Kamanaba. And PB, hashtag Bowie. Good morning to all our teachers, especially from Bowie, Sister Christina, Sister Lizelle, and Sister Mirna, Sister Teresa K. Motor said, shout out to Brother Eli from Waldorf for celebrating his birthday. And now for our college graduates, from Brother Joshua, shout out to SFM class of 2021 for the young brothers who want to pursue further education. We got we got just the school for you. Sister Anne Marie said, shout out to my friends, Brother JR, Sister Krisha, Brother Aaron, Brother Ryan, Sister Annika, and my cousins, Sister Annie and Sister Arwen, on their graduations this year. And shout out to all of us college students who are still in the trenches. We got this. And Brother Saji said, congratulations to all of the recent graduates. A special shout out to Brother JR. Sister Teresa Kemochor, shout out to our Waldorf graduates. Sister Krisha, Sister Annie, Brother Kyle, Brother Noah. So proud of all of you. And Sister Amelia Salazar said, performing church duty is the secret. Go, Brother JR, hashtag Temple Hills. Sister Perla Rolante said, congratulations to our graduates, batch 2024. Job well done, po. We're proud of you. And Sister Janet Gonzalez said, hashtag Waldorf. Shout out to Sister Krisha, Sister Annie, her daughter, and Brother Noah and Brother Kyle. And for our questions, we have, what challenges did you face up until your graduation? Sister Anne Marie said, campus loneliness and self discipline. Being in a big university in a different major from my friends can get a little lonely. Motivating myself and trusting in God has helped me so much. Brother Marvin said, I definitely faced challenges of time management and setting priorities up until my graduation. And Sister Teresa said, when it came to me getting my bachelor's degree, I think the most challenging was finding time to do my assignments while working night shift at the hospital. All I wanted to do was sleep. Brother Joshua said, Be forever students, whether graduating or deep in your field. Learn, learn, learn. And Brother Saji said, always refresh your material and learn new skills. And Brother Len said, word. Brother Saji, sharpen the saw. And Brother Joshua replied, iron sharp. Iron sharpness iron, and sharpen your spiritual iron as well. And we have, let's see if we have time. Okay, so shout out to those other comments from Sister Melanie, Sister Christina, Sister Anne Marie. We see all your comments. And now let's go to our CFO in action. Let's check out our recent district activities. Let's watch it.
On Saturday, June 15th, brethren around the District of Washington, D.C. gathered for the Unity Games esports activity. Through games like Valorant, Mobile Legends, Mario Kart, and more, brethren of all ages had the opportunity to make new friends, new memories, and share laughter at Unity Games esports.
Okay, and for our upcoming activities, we have June 22, which is today. We have the Pasugo Quiz district level that's going to be in the Washington, D.C. Function Hall at 6 p.m. June 23, that's tomorrow, Sunday, Unity Games Finals, basketball and volleyball at Rockville Sportsplex at 4 p.m. And on June 30, that's also a Sunday, we have the CBI special gathering of all students, 5 p.m. in Temple Hill. So we'll see you there. And now let's check out what's happening next week on INCRadio Washington, D.C. Let's check it out.
Are you ready for round two? The love of the brotherhood and fellow sportsmanship continue in the District of Washington, D.C. Mid-Atlantic as we recap Unity Games, the championships. Join us on INC Radio WDC this Saturday, June 29, 2024 at 9 a.m. Eastern Time as we look back at the various games, the camaraderie, and skill set of our fellow volleyball and basketball athletes. See you there.
For their unstoppable support, we would like to thank our INC Radio Washington, D.C. family for supporting our broadcast, especially to our Subsea President, Brother Angelo Manalo, and of course, a very special greeting to our Executive Minister of Iglesianicristo Church of Christ, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you for tuning in to INC Radio Washington, D.C. Satellite Studio. Stay unstoppable. Bye. Bye. See you next week.